you start your week with a clear writing plan, or do you start with hope? Do you tell yourself, I'll write when I get a chance, or I'll fit it in once everything else is done? Then Monday gets busy, Tuesday disappears, and Wednesday brings something unexpected. And by the weekend, you're wondering why your book barely moved. Now, it's easy to assume that you weren't fully committed or that you need more discipline. But often, the real issue is that your writing was left to compete with everything else in your week without being given a clear place to land. And sometimes, even when you do make a plan, the kind of schedule that helps another writer show up might leave you feeling boxed in, pressured, bored, or overwhelmed. So today, I'm giving you a simple 15-minute Sunday reset. I'll show you how to plan around the week you actually have and customize that plan for your writing bird personality so that your writing schedule works with the way you are naturally wired to write instead of asking you to become somebody else. So stay with me. If you feel called to write a book, but writer's block, procrastination, and self-doubt keep pulling you from the page, you're not alone, and you're not meant to stay stuck. Hi, I'm Maddison, author and life coach, and I've created this podcast as a creative space grounded in faith and mindset transformations to help you break through your blocks, gain creative clarity, and finally finish the book you're meant to write. So grab your cup of liquid gold and let's write the darn book together. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Write the Darn Book. I'm your host, Maddison Michaels, and today's Mindset Monday episode is all about planning your writing week in a way that helps you actually show up to the page. We'll walk through a simple 15-minute Sunday reset, then tailor it for your writing personality, because the basic structure can stay the same while the way you use it needs to fit you and how you are uniquely wired. One of the vaguest writing goals that we can set is, I'll write when I can. It sounds flexible, but in practice, when I can usually means writing gets pushed behind whatever feels more immediate. Let's face it, there'll always be another email, an appointment, a household task, or something that comes up that suddenly feels urgent, often right at the time that you are thinking about opening your manuscript and writing. Because, my friends, writing can carry uncertainty. You might wonder whether the words will come, whether the scene is going to work, or whether you'll be able to pick up the thread after time away from the page. So when your week gets busy, your brain often reaches for the task that feels clearer and easier to complete. That's why vague writing plans fall apart. They ask you to make the decision every day without the certainty of knowing what's coming. Am I writing today? When will I do it? What will I work on? Have I got enough time? Or should I wait until tomorrow? Every question creates another little opening for resistance. A weekly writing plan removes many of those decisions before the week begins. It gives your writing somewhere to live, and it gives your mind a sense of what's coming. So it gives your nervous system that safety that it needs. This isn't about controlling every hour. It's about creating just enough structure that your book isn't relying on chance. Because hope is so beautiful for so many things, but it can be a shaky writing strategy. I know how easy it is to look at a few blank spaces in the calendar and think, yes, I can fit some writing time in there. But blank spaces rarely stay blank. Something runs over time, somebody needs you, you're more tired than you expected. Or you finally sit down with 20 minutes available, you open your manuscript, and then you realise you've got no idea where to begin. So then half the session disappears while you reread the last chapter or you scroll through your notes. By the end of the week, you feel disappointed with yourself even though you never made a clear agreement about when the writing was actually going to happen. Sometimes the guilt comes from breaking a promise you never properly made to yourself. You told yourself you'd write more, you hoped you'd find the time, but you didn't decide when, where, or what you'd work on. Then you judged yourself against a plan that never truly existed. The Sunday reset changes that. It doesn't create more hours, I wish it did, but it creates more clarity. It's your calm, clear self leaving directions for the version of you who might be tired or busy or distracted or perhaps slightly resistant when the writing session arrives. So let's build your 15-minute Sunday reset. You can do this on whichever day marks the beginning of your week. If you'd prefer to do it on a Monday or a Friday, do whatever works for you. Set a timer, open your calendar and have your manuscript or notes nearby. And for the first 5 minutes, look at the week ahead as it really is. Start with what's already there, your work hours, family commitments, appointments, travel time, rest, and anything else that genuinely needs your time. Writers often plan around an imaginary week. We choose early mornings when we're exhausted before sunrise or long evening sessions after days that have already drained us. A useful writing schedule begins with honesty. Ask yourself, where is the real space this week? Then ask, when am I most likely to have the energy I need to meet the page? You might technically have an hour on Thursday night, but if Thursday is already your longest day, a clear 25 minutes on Tuesday morning might serve you far better and be more productive. For the next 5 minutes, choose your writing windows and make them specific. Tuesday from 6:30 to 7 gives your mind something clear to prepare for. Sometime on Tuesday leaves the decision open all day. So choose the number of sessions also that's going to fit this week of writing. And some weeks might hold 4, some might hold 2. A very full week with other commitments might only hold 1 protected writing session and perhaps a few 5-minute touch points to keep you connected to your manuscript. The goal is a plan you can trust. Choose one backup window too. This isn't permission to move every session. It's a safety net though for real life, because real life happens, right? Things pop up that we don't expect. So one changed plan, if you have that safety net, doesn't become a lost week. For the final 5 minutes, decide exactly what you'll work on for the coming week. Putting write book in your calendar still leaves your brain with a large foggy task, and resistance loves uncertainty. So give every session a clear entry point into your work. For fiction, that might be that you write down, draft the argument between Clara and James. For non-fiction, it might be draft the opening example for chapter 4. If you're revising, name the scene, chapter, or the specific issue you're addressing for that writing block you're going to book in with yourself. Then choose a minimum. It could be time, like 5 minutes. It could be words that you need to write, like 200 words. It could be I'm going to write 1 paragraph or 1 small revision task. The minimum should feel achievable even if resistance shows up. You can always write beyond it, but the minimum keeps the doorway open. And that's the universal Sunday reset, my friends. Look honestly at your week, choose your writing windows, and decide what you're going to work on in those windows. Now we're going to customize it because each writing personality tends to derail the plan differently. And remember, these are tendencies, not fixed boxes. You might recognize yourself in more than one writing personality, and your patterns can shift with the project, perhaps with the pressure you're under or the season of life you're in. Now let's begin with the Dove Writer. And if you haven't done my bird writing personality quiz, it's free online. Just visit my website, madisonmichaels.com/quiz, and you can complete the bird quiz there. I've updated it recently, so you now can see all of your bird personalities and the percentage breakdown. So if you have done it and you didn't get your percentage breakdown, you might want to redo it again. Okay, so if you do lean towards being a Dove writer predominantly, then often what can happen is you might create a thoughtful writing plan, but then you give the time away the moment somebody else needs something. Your challenge might not be making the schedule, it might be believing you're allowed to honour it. So choose one protected writing session, put it in your calendar, and where appropriate, let the people around you know that you're unavailable during that window. You're not asking permission, you're giving your writing a clear boundary. Also, choose a gentle backup session so that if life genuinely changes, you can move that protected writing session without turning the change into guilt. Your reminder is, making room for my book doesn't mean I care less about anyone else. It means my creativity matters too. Now let's look at the Owl Writer. If you lean towards Owl as your personality trait, then you might really enjoy the Sunday reset so much that 15 minutes spent planning it actually becomes a full planning project for the entire book. You might colour code the calendar, calculate your word counts, refine the chapter sequence, and research a new planning tool. And then you've spent more time preparing to write than actually writing. Your planning instinct is a strength. The adjustment, though, is knowing when you have enough information to begin. So set the timer and honour that 15 minutes of planning. Give every session one exact manuscript task. Work on chapter 8 might be too broad. Instead, you might want to put down draft the confrontation in chapter 8, and that gives your analytical mind a clear target. Then finish planning. Your reminder is the plan only needs enough detail to show me what comes next. Now for the Peacock Writer. If you lean towards being a peacock writer, then Sunday planning can either feel very exciting or very stifling. So it really depends on what mindset you're at. But if it's feeling exciting, then you might create a week filled with 5 sessions, 3 chapters, a character board, a playlist, and possibly a brand new book idea. The plan feels amazing on Sunday, but then impossible by Tuesday. Your creativity and your enthusiasm are strengths. The adjustment, though, is making the week feel alive without making it bigger than your real life can hold. So choose one clear manuscript priority, then add variety inside it. You might draft an emotional scene at home, work on dialogue in a cafe, or use music or a different location for another session. You're giving your creativity movement while keeping every session attached to the same book. Your reminder is, I can make this week feel creative without chasing a new project. Now finally, the Eagle Writer. If you lean towards being an Eagle Writer, then you'll probably respond really well to clear targets and measurable progress. The risk, though, is planning according to what you could force yourself to achieve rather than what you can sustainably hold. You might turn the plan into a test of discipline and willpower. Then if one session changes, you feel as though the week has failed and you try to compensate by pushing harder. Instead, choose one meaningful weekly result and build realistic sessions around it. And that result might be, by the end of this week, I'll have drafted the final 2 scenes of chapter 12. Include a buffer window from the beginning so that flexibility is part of your strategy rather than evidence that the strategy failed. Your reminder is a strong plan creates progress. It doesn't need to prove how hard I can push myself. And if you're a blend of personalities, which let's face it, most of us are, then combine the adjustments that fit. A dove owl writer might need a protected writing session and an exact manuscript task. A peacock eagle might need one clear weekly result delivered through variety and energizing sessions. The aim isn't to squeeze yourself into a category, it's to notice which tendency is shaping your week and build a plan that supports the writer you actually are. Before you finish your reset, prepare the first session. Open the document to the right place, leave yourself one sentence about what happens next, and put your notebook on the desk or make sure your laptop is charged and ready to go. What you're doing is reducing the distance between you and the words. Then at the end of the week, take 2 minutes to notice what worked. Which session felt easiest to begin? Which time suited your energy best? And which bird adjustment helped? Also consider, what would you change next week? That reflection is how you build a personalised writing process. Over time, the Sunday reset becomes more than planning. It becomes an act of your writing identity. You're saying to yourself, my book has a place in my life. My writing matters enough to be included, and I'm willing to meet it with intention. So here's what I'd love you to do this weekend, or whatever day works best for you. Set aside those 15 minutes and complete your Sunday reset. Look at your real week ahead, choose your writing windows, and decide what you are going to work on, and then prepare the first session. Choose the bird adjustment that supports you right now. So if you're a dove, one protected writing session. If you're an owl, finish planning when the timer ends. If you're a peacock, add variety while staying with the same manuscript. And if you're an eagle, choose one meaningful reset without turning it into a test. And if you've been listening and thinking, yes, this is exactly me. I care deeply about my book, but I keep reaching the end of the week without moving it forward, then this is the kind of pattern that we can work through together. I have available my blueprint writing sessions, where it's a one-off, one-on-one session where we actually go through your individual writing personality, your combination bird types, what works for you, what to do if you hit blocks and resistance, and how to get to the end. So if you have been wanting that extra personalized support and understanding of how you are wired to write, head to madisonmichaels.com/blueprint and book in a session today. All right, my friends, that is all for this week. Remember, your writing week doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. It needs a few clear places where you can return to the manuscript and take the next step. 15 minutes of planning can save you a full week of hoping, negotiating, and feeling as though you should be doing more. So give yourself that reset. Give your writing a place in your week ahead and customize your plan for the way you naturally work. And when the time arrives, open the document and meet the story where you left it. Remember, you are the vessel for the story. So let the words flow through you and onto the page. Until next time, my friends, take care and let's write the darn book together. My friend, I hope today's episode gave you exactly what you needed for your writing journey. And if it did, would you take 30 seconds to share it with another writer who's struggling to start or finish their book? And if you're loving the show, I'd be so grateful if you left a quick review. It means the world to me and truly makes my day to know that this podcast is helping you. And as you head back into your week, I hope you feel more supported and connected to your creativity. And remember, you're a vessel for the story. So let the words flow through you and onto the page. All right, I'm off to refill my cup of liquid gold and go and do a little writing of my own. Take care, and I'll meet you back here in the next episode of Write the Darn Book.